Hello, my name's Michael Conneely, and this video and its accompanying blog are all about the full moon of December 2023, the 27th of December here in Ireland, the 26th of December in the USA. And when it's studied deeply, it emerges that the key call, which all of us will feel, is to delve deep into the energies. And I start with mentioning 7 facets of the energies, 7 points. I feel there is a call to seek new growth through the elimination of old rubbish. We must confront our problems. We must get to the root of the matter. We must note and overcome any fears that are dogging us. We must learn to identify the detail of our challenge, of our problems, of our old rubbish. For example, by reflection or ideally vision work. And through that, we must accept the challenge at this time. And we also need to realise that at the time of this full moon, Mercury and Mars are both in what's called the Gandanta zone, the zone of immateriality and worldly unsupportiveness between water sign and fire sign, in this case Scorpio and Sagittarius. And they're actually also both square Neptune in Pisces, Neptune at the 1st degree of Pisces. And that is a tremendous offering to us, that energy of Neptune in Pisces. Obviously, there are downsides to Neptune in Pisces energy, but it really is a superb time to do vision work, vision journeying, and look out for deep and wonderful insights. So, do find a space to deeply attune to how you are feeling and to what you are feeling at the time of this full moon, and continue that connection and vision work in the 28 days as the lunation then unfolds. Now, that key statement that I've given you is not actually based mainly on the signs that the sun and moon fall into at the time of this full moon. It's actually based on the nakshatras that the sun and moon fall within at the time of this full moon. Yes, Vedic astrology does divide the zodiac into 12 signs, but note that it also divides the zodiac into a 27 sign nakshatra zodiac, the 27 nakshatras or lunar signs. And it's by analysing the position within the nakshatras that the sun and moon occupied that I've come to this conclusion, and I feel it is the key. So in the case of this particular full moon, we absolutely need to realise that the deeper currents and the deeper power demands and the greater potential gifts will come from understanding the nakshatra placements of the sun and the moon at the time of this full moon. And as I said, the nakshatras are the 27 lunar signs of Vedic astrology, which of course also has the 12 signs as well. And the special twist to the tale in the case of this particular full moon is that if you delve deep, you actually find out that both the sun and the moon occupy spaces within their nakshatra of fairly rare and very special challenge. Please be aware of that. Please listen to what follows. The Sun and the Moon actually occupy two particularly difficult sections of the Nakshatra they're in. Now these sections are called Ashtamamsha Padas, which I explain below. But of course, before I get into that, I want to say that I'll additionally be mentioning the energies of the full moon with reference to other key planets, the nodes of the moon in Virgo Pisces, Saturn in Aquarius, plus the current complexities of Mars and Mercury in the Gandanta zone between Scorpio and Sagittarius. So let's look at the detail of this full moon. Okay, we'll start with the signs it's in. Moon is at 10 Vedic Gemini. Sun is at 10 Vedic Sagittarius. So according to the energies of the signs occupied by the moon and the sun, moon in Gemini is restless, nervous, loquacious. It's exploratory energy, typical Gemini characteristics. Restless, nervous, loquacious, exploratory. Sun, on the other hand, is expansive in Sagittarius, idealistic, optimistic, big picture energy, ruled by Jupiter. But, as I said, we actually have to go deep beyond the moon and the sun's sign placements. We have to look at their nakshatra placements for the fullest, deepest meaning. And in fact, if you go to my Star Wheel Astrology website, you'll see that I teach a nakshatras course. It's completely individual, very caring. And the focus is the nakshatras in your chart, the nakshatras in my chart. Two people's charts are involved to make sure it stays authentic and caring. So using the nakshatras, as I said, the energy of this full moon is revealed in its truth to be starkly and dramatically powerful. In the case of this full moon, you see, we need to take account of a deeper, totally key factor within nakshatra analysis. And that is, you don't just look at the nakshatra. Each nakshatra is actually divided into 4 quarters or padas. And there are 8 very difficult energy padas called Ashtamamsha padas. And the sun and the moon are in 2 of the 8. So it's going to be very difficult energy, and I'll be explaining why. What does it mean for a planet to be within an Ashtamamsha pada of its nakshatra? Well, basically, Ashtamamsha padas make the planet feel to be dysfunctional. And we can feel aggrieved at that. It feels confrontative energy and difficult to handle. That's what will be experienced at the heart of this full moon, the sun and the moon of this full moon. And this is in essence because there's disconnection involved. There's lack of integration involved. And the lack of integration is between the planet's call to us on a soul level and the planet's push to us in our life on the physical level. There's disconnection between the soul and the physical. The mind will be telling you one thing, whereas circumstances you experience will be telling you another thing. For planets in the Ashtamamsha padas, of which there are 8, 2 of them involved in the case of this full moon, The individual soul just does not understand what the universal soul wants. So you're going to have to analyse, what you're feeling and what's happening event-wise in your life, and look for the divine meaning. Look for the call of the universal soul to you behind those more superficial events and feelings. And when Ashtamamsha Nakshatra padas are activated, be prepared for unexpected events to occur. Indeed, and they can be quite visionary given the two planets in the Gandanta and Neptune in Pisces, unexpected events and openings which can lead to major transformation according to the signification of the planet involved. In this case, the moon, our emotionally based consciousness, our mothering issues and so on, and the sun, our sense of self and our fathering issues. So I'm sharing this analysis with you because great benefits and gains can come to us if we really do make the space on the day of the full moon and on following days to go really deep into what we're feeling, to go really deep into our awareness. What are we making of it? What is our understanding of the energies of this full moon and the following lunation period? And it helps that we are now being alerted to the disconnecting energy. We can't take things at full value, the physical world events, the mundane thoughts. We are called to do vision work, really, to see what their divine meaning is for us, what divine meaning there is for us as we walk our life pathway. So let's look at the nakshatra placements of the moon and the sun for this full moon. Well, moon is in the 6th nakshatra, Ardra. In fact, moon is in Ardra Pada 2, which is one of the 8 Ashtamamsha padas. Sun is in the 19th nakshatra, Mula nakshatra. And sun is in Mula nakshatra Pada 4, which is also Ashtamamsha. So what are the energies? Okay, moon in Ardra nakshatra. Well, Ardra nakshatra is a super tough energy. Ardra is ruled by Rahu, the north node of the moon, and so its nature is ambitious and driven, and they can fall prey to delusion. The ruling deity or face of the divine is Rudra, the storm god. Ardra's symbol is the teardrop. Ardra people desire perfection and redemption, but Ardra's energies are destruction, sadness and illusion. And so this super strong, confrontative, ambitious energy actually calls us to identify the old rubbish in our life, the old rubbish littering our ongoing pathway, the old rubbish in our sense of identity that no longer, should we say, is part of us. Do some special vision work at the time of this full moon to identify your old rubbish. But in Ardra Pada 2, the Ashtamamsha Pada, realise that the Ardra storm is greater. This is what we must realise and we must embrace and go through. So of course we can do vision work, and for example we can be helped by connection, for example, to our angel, our guardian angel, our guides and so forth. But we must confront our problems, otherwise we fail with what the divine energies of this full moon are offering. Okay, that's moon in Ardra. What about sun in Mula Nakshatra? Well, Mula Nakshatra is at the start of Sagittarius. It rises out of the Gandanta, the water to fire transition that is Scorpio to Sagittarius. And Mula Nakshatra is ruled over by the goddess Niriti. She is a dark goddess of death and destruction. She is the deity of calamity. The events she hurls at us are hard, sharp and dreadful. But you see, Vedic and Hinduism is tantric, as is Tibetan Buddhism. So everything is connective to the divine, not just the sweet and beautiful, the awful and terrible as well. And it is our purpose, if we have a human incarnation, to see the divine face, to see the events and see how the events actually connect us to the divine face, how the events channel us to the face of the divine. This is such an important point. It's absolutely key. Mula's symbol is the bunch of roots. In other words, you and I need to get to the root of the matter at the time of this lunation and on the day of this full moon. Get to the root of the matter. And so we somehow have to overcome the fears that are dogging us. And as I said, we can get help if we connect to our divine helpers, our angel or whatever. We have to learn to identify our challenge at this time and accept it and work with it. And so it could be like a wonderfully useful idea to actually hold a meeting to meet Niriti, the goddess of death and destruction. What would she look like is a question you might want to ask. How would Niriti be with me? What would I say when I meet the goddess of death and destruction? What could such a meeting mean? It's like Kali, it's like Hecate. How do I prepare? What preparation would I need to make? What gifts would she bestow? Which of my problems might become healed at the time of this lunation, albeit often in an unexpected or strange way? Because we're going into darkness, we're going into newness, we're going in blindfolded and ignorant. Think about it. Niriti's name itself translates from Sanskrit as calamity. Moreover, Niriti is the daughter of Adama, vileness, and Himsa, violence, and the mother of Mrityu, death, and Baya, fear. The planet ruling Mula Nakshatra is Ketu, the south node of the moon, the cutting energy that cuts away our worldly scripts, but with divine purpose and benefits, if we can understand and survive the cutting process. Always, when Ketu is involved, it's for spiritual purpose. So all this that I've tried to describe to you makes Mula a very difficult energy to handle, and it will be highlighted because the sun of this full moon is in Mula. Okay, we do need to also briefly look at the other planets that have like a key role in the chart for this full moon. I'd pick out Saturn first. Saturn is super powerful at 8 degrees Aquarius, which is one of the 2 signs that Saturn rules, the other being Capricorn. Now, Saturn is a permanent major feature and energy and divine demand on us because he's in Aquarius all of 2025. Saturn first entered Aquarius in April 2022, but he did retrograde back into Sagittarius and then, into Capricorn and then re-entered Aquarius. I've got the dates in the blog which accompanies this video. So it's a very long stay of Saturn in Aquarius. But it helps us to realise that Saturn's essential nature is to demand that we meet our correct karmic challenge for this life and for this current period in our life. What are your karmic needs? What karmic demands are being placed on you to choose your correct path forward, your correct identity, your correct way of healing, worshipping and living? If we can identify them and meet them, the whole important thing to note is that Saturn then rewards us. When we're not meeting Saturn's demands, we feel depressed and fearful.